Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Bilal?
Alhamdulillah, sir. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. All right. Do you have any question regarding your previous lecture that you can ask? In the previous lecture, we discussed how you are going to write queries, how you are going to join your tables, how you are going to check either there is data duplication, means data redundancy or not. So, and also we have done complex queries, advanced SQL queries, query within a query, right? So
Okay,
in
sir.
today's lecture, you will be able to implement database design features and testing of database. Basically, implementation techniques were discussed in the previous class, and the technique was how you are going to attempt your assignment or your task. That is Mahrud, right? So the basic structure and the logical structure will be ready if you are able to write your queries as well. Okay. Here we are going to discuss LO3, be able to implement database design. So whatever the design you have been developed in the previous lecture or in the previous guidelines, now you are going to implement it with the help of queries. And that queries will we have done in the previous class. Our indicative content include WAMP, means the server on which you are going to attempt your assignment, the server on which you are going to host your DB with suitable graphical user interface. Then you are going to attempt database testing. Basically, GUI is the front end that you need to develop with the help of some coding, and that GUI must be user friendly, easy to navigate, user centric. By the term user centric means user will find very easily each and every option without going to the next screen. Any question?
No, sir.
All right. Database security features. The first ever security features that comes into your mind maybe that is 2FA or multi-factor authentication. Okay. You can also use MPIN. Okay, that is being used for your personal number or the four-digit pin, MPIN, ePIN, or whatever that you need to develop as a security feature. Database security refers to the collective measures used to protect and secure your database or your DBMS software from illegitimate users and malicious threat and attacks like DDoS and DOS. Threats like SQL injections, illegitimate use like corruption, like altering the data. It is a broad term that includes a multitude of processes, tools, and methodologies that ensures security within the DB environment. There are multiple tools that you need to pay, and their tools will provide you more secure environment. And also you can deploy your own, your custom, your personal written code as a database security, but it is totally up to you which type of security that you prefer will be good one. Database security covers and enforces security on all aspects and components of DB. What are the components of DB? The first ever, the data, then the device on which your data or DBMS is getting host, then the links, data stored in the DB, database server, DBMS, other database workflow application. For example, if you are deploying your DB with core PHP, then you need to use custom security features. Okay, and many VPS, virtual private servers, are offering custom security features. Okay, for the core PHP database. Basically, the database is being developed in SQL, and the front end or the code and the parameter passing code, data driven code will be written in the core PHP. Database security is generally, at first, you need to plan, then you need to implement according to the plan, then you need to maintain. In maintenance, you need to look after how the transactions, how the operations are being done, either in a normal way or in an abnormal way, by a database administrator and or other information security professional. Do you know about information security professional?
So is it like cybersecurity?
Yes, some of the
Okay.
ways DB security is analyzed and implemented, and it includes restricting unauthorized access and use by implementing strong and multi-factor access to data management controls. For example, let's say a person X is a authorized user and acting as the editor in that database. Okay, and there is a person named A who is an attacker, who is a hacker, who wants to access your DB with unauthorized access, or you can say malicious access, and you do not implemented multi-factor access. You just need to enter password and then you log in. At first, that attacker will get the session and cookies from your browser. He or she collect the information regarding the database login. Then he logged into the account, and then he can do anything with that editor access. What happens if he got the control of super admin? Abdullah, can you imagine? What if the attacker gets the control of super admin?
So he can have access to everything basically.
Yes, he can get everything in his or her control. Okay, load or stress testing and capacity testing of a DB to ensure it doesn't crash if multi-million requests being generated on that server. Just like DDoS, distributed denial of service, or DOS, denial of service. It will happen only when there is a large number of requests being generated on that server port that is more greater than in number than the server can host in 1 second. For example, a server can host or entertain 1 million requests in 1 second, and attacker by attack, or you can say stress or the load, divert multi-million traffic onto the server with its port. Then your server will say it's DDoS attack, and it will not entertain any request, any other request, even if you are going to attempt and getting the logged in, then you are not going to do. Physical security of the DB server. For example, if there is a natural disaster in some area, then you must need to provide them a super backup that must be hosted at some other part of the world, at some other part of the country, at some other part of the regional office. Reviewing existing system for any known or unknown vulnerability. Vulnerability means a loophole from where attacker or a phishing person may find some loophole and get logged into your system. And defining and implementing a roadmap and plan to mitigate them means to eliminate them. Okay? Any one of you have any problem? Do you?
No, sir.
All right. What are the security features that you need to protect your DB? Abdullah, do you know about detail certificate? I think I told you guys. Abdullah,
No,
are you
sir.
here?
I don't remember.
All right, it's okay. Detail certificates are basically, you can say, at websites, these are the SSL or the logs that appears in the web address bar, right? So these certificates are of such type. Detail certificate is a unique identifier given to any entity to provide authentication of a computer, document, or web page. Okay. Then a third party such as Equifax certifies that the document is legal or illegal. Whatever the document that is being registered on the server will be considered as illegal, and the other one or the otherwise everyone else will be considered as illegal. Okay, just like the HTTP and HTTPS. HTTPS will give you fast and secure data submission as compared to HTTP. Okay,
Yes,
is those
okay.
are here, Amar. Encryptions. Encryptions alters the data so unauthorized user cannot view the data information. For example, you can encrypt your data, or attackers can encrypt your data if they log into your DB or whatever the software that you are using. Like, if you press A, then it will show some other alphabet like H, like K. So this is the alteration of your data. If you want to find any data that start with F, and if you enter F in the search bar, the letter appear for the F will be like A or C. Encryptions do the same at the admin level. It will alter the entire data, and the attacker, the hacker, or unauthorized user, if wants to alter or view the record, the encryption will prohibit them. Firewall. Firewalls are basically developed to provoke, firewalls are being developed to activate such security code that will stop every user that is using the wrong credentials. Firewalls protect a network from unauthorized access from the internet. Basically, there are three types of firewalls. Firewalls level 1, that meets the basic needs. Firewalls that is in the advanced section, or you can say a business class, just like the business class or level 2 firewall, will be act as the hide and protection, both feature at the same time. The level 2 firewall will be placed in the VPS. You can activate your firewalls at level 2 in VPS. In VPS, they will hide the actual link. They will give you some other alternative link that is not being public in the entire internet. You and only the super admin will know about that link, and you can log into your system with that link with the correct credentials. And at the level 3 firewall, these three firewalls are very advanced. If anyone or advanced where you by using advanced technique, anyone try to break into your system with internet, then the third firewall will block the entire request. And the third firewall will be activated only if you are using some other IP stations. For example, if my IP is 192.168.190.10, then this IP of my workstation, my super laptop, or whatever the machine that I am using right now at the time of being development, that firewall will save the IP, location, and the credentials. Then it will only allow me in my computer, my workstation to get login. Okay. Proxy servers, just like the VPNs, shield the request between client computers inside a private network and internet. All right. Can you share any information about proxy servers?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me what happens when you are using VPN? Like if we are in KSA and we are using VPN of Australia, then
Yes, it changes our address in the internet so that we can access certain part which is not allowed in that country.
yeah, there are multiple sites that every country blocks, like cybersecurity related things. In KSA, many sites are blocked due to irrelevant content because they are producing some harmful content, like they are giving education, and but the main focus is to deploy and raise some malicious mind with the equal techniques that CEH certified ethical hackers are getting from the government level. For example, if a boy of 18 know about such sites that can give the education of unauthorized use of internet, unauthorized use of technology, then and if he or she learn about it, and what happens when he or she start using it against governments, it will be a threat. Such type of education is not useful for us, for every human on the earth. Okay, so such sites are blocked by the government, by the country domain. But proxy servers shields that request and divert our request from to another server which is not located or getting served in our country. For example, such sites are legal and not banned in Australia. Then he can try to connect with the Australia VPN and then connect with that website. But here's the situation and the request both are different. The request is to get the data from the servers that is for Mahrud B website. When you click on the link https colon mahrudbeesdb.com or mahrudbees.com, the system, the network will land you on the specific page. What if you are not using proxy servers? If you are using local or regular internet, then you can land it land onto the page, web page. But if you are using proxy server and if you want to land through the servers outside the KSA, then that application is solely served inside the KSA. You are not going to be land on the exact web page. You might face the exact clone, you might face some any other website, or you might face some error that this web page is not available in your country. Okay, this is how your proxy server will divert the traffic from your country to another. And same is the here. If you want to manage the proxies, then you need to implement it with your net. Security socket layer connects and transmit encrypted data. SSL, security socket layer. It is a certificate. It is a digital certificate. Okay. SHTTP means Secure Hypertext Transport Protocol. It can transport any web page securely from server to the client's screen. So, by configuring these features with internet and network components, you make it possible to provide exact privacy, the exact security to reduce database security intrusion. Intrusions are just like uh, illegitimate user interference into your network. Okay. Do you have any issue in this slide?
No, sir.
All right,
Right.
LAMP. LAMP basically is a collection of multiple web service tags. For example, L means Linux. It is a web, it's a operating system that is being installed like Ubuntu, like Linux or Kali Linux. Basically, Kali Linux is being used for CEH for the users like CEH, but I do not recommend that Linux for you. Okay, and the basic disadvantage in the Linux is if you do not know the exact path of your file, your resource, your text file, your video file, then you are not going to find it visually, or you are not going to search it in the entire entire Linux. Okay, this is the basic disadvantage that if you do not find or if you do not know the exact path of your for concerned file, then you are not going to find it. LAMP is an archetypal model of web service solution. Stacks names as an acronym of names of its original four open source components. If we are talking about open source, then it means you can easily customize them according to your requirement. The Apache Linux, which is an operating system, the Apache, it is actually the server that redirects with some web pages. MySQL. MySQL is basically used for your DB and caring with PHP programming languages. Whatever the database that you need to develop, you can develop with MySQL, host with HTTP like Apache, and that Apache will use Linux. But if you want to get interacted with that DB, you need to perform some programming, and with that programming, you need to develop user interface. By the that user interface, your end user will interact and do some interactions and transactions in return. Just like we are talking about interactions, we are dealing with the software Zoom. Here, the here we can see the GUI of Zoom. We can talk, we can start our video, we can see the security feature, participant, chats. These are the multiple tabs that user needs to interact with them according to the need. Okay, we will be get in touch soon after 1 minute. Okay, so do you have any query? Any one of you, if you want to ask anything, then you can ask. Right, Muhammad Ayas, do you have any question regarding previous lecture or in this lecture? Then you can ask.
No, sir. If I get any, I will ask you.
All right, thank you. The LAMP components are largely interchangeable and not limited to the original selection. As a solution stack, LAMP is suitable for building dynamic websites and web applications. Just like if you are using Laravel, then it will be a good selection of you that you are using LAMP. Government sites uses LAMP. Why? Because it is purely support dynamic websites. Okay, then the security must be very tight. It is good feature. And in Linux, if you get logged into the system, then you must need to find and you must need to know what is the exactly path of source file that is being stored in that link. If you do not know about it, then you are failed. Since its creation, the LAMP model has been adapted to other components through typically consisting of free and open source software. For example, an equivalent installation on the Microsoft Windows family of OS is known as WAMP. The exact clone of LAMP on Windows is WAMP, and also you can use XAMPP. And if you are using XAMPP, then your source files must be in htdocs folder. If you are using WAMP, then your source files must be stored in www. In other words, LAMP is an open source web development platform that uses Linux as a OS, Apache as a web server, MySQL as the DB language, and PHP as the object-oriented scripting languages that is being used to drive the data from front end to the back end. Means data-driven code must be in PHP. Okay, WAMP. As the name shows, Windows, Apache, MySQL, PHP, or a Python, or a Perl. The acronym WAMP refers to a set of free open source apps combined with Microsoft Windows because they support Microsoft, which are commonly used in web server environments. The WAMP stacks provide developers with four key elements of web server: OS, DB, web server, and multiple web scripting software language. Python is can be used in AI, in BI. PHP can be used in AI and BI as a data-driven code. And I did not use Perl, so I cannot say much about it. But Perl is a open source server-side scripting language. Okay. In this stack, Microsoft Windows is a OS, Apache is act as a web server, MySQL act same, while PHP, Python, or Perl represent the dynamic scripting languages that you need to write anything for data run. Steps to link WAMP to your DB. You need to install, then run it, then open phpMyAdmin and write the code into the web address bar. HTTP localhost phpMyAdmin. It will give you the exact look just like the XAMPP. You can create your database via macro and via query. Okay, Mohammed Iyaz, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you tell us what is a macro?
What is the macro?
Yes. Do you know about it? If not,
I
then
think I saw macro in Excel, I believe. When I was using Excel.
yes. But do you know in
Macros like
DB?
The macros we use it to make repetitive tasks easier. Like without repeating the task, we write a formula so it becomes easier. Like something is the steps are recorded and it's repeated according to the
All
formula
right.
that you write.
I will give you a basic concept of macro. Basically, to the basic concept behind the designing of macro is to automate any task just by clicking any event. Like if you create a button insert data, and when user click insert data after entering the records in the desired field, then that data must be submitted into the backend, means DB. Now, the event of submission of data, insert data, when user hit the button insert data, and in reaction your system react, all the data collect from the front end and then stored into the back end. This is the concept of macro, to automate, to make it easy for the user the submission of data, some action, and then gives us faithful and useful reaction by the system. This is what a macro means. Now, you can create the database and connect that website with your database using your PHP code. And in PHP code, you are going to pass three parameters: database name, database username, and database password from the root of the source file. Then your database will get connect to the website. Note: make sure all files in the directory file name www found inside the WAMP folder. If you install your WAMP server in C, then it will be in C. If you install in any other like D, E, or F, then you can find in the corresponding GUI. Graphical user interface. In DB, a GUI is what the user see and user interact with it. Users are not aware of all the code that developer and the designer both write at the back end. Queuing and designing that is happening on the back end. The user only deals with the front end, which is a simple UI, few mouse and button clicks. The DB UI is the forms and the reports that the user will deal with in order to interact with the system that is connected with the DB. A form GUI should be simple, clear, easy to use for the user to understand what is the purpose of this form. For example, if we want the user to enter information for our website to use to our user table, we will provide a form called sign up form with email, with contact number and password, and the user is requested his name, age, mail, phone number, address, etc., whatever the data that you need to log in, sorry, sign up for that time. When the user clicks sign up, the information entered by the user is actually being stored at the backend. This is all the event that react, that system react when user hit the button sign up. So we need to make sure that forms is clear, well arranged, and simple to make sure user have the best experience with our product. Also, the reports that are produced from the DB should be well organized, well labeled, and much simpler for the user and easy to read with normal or custom form. All right. Anyone of you have any question?
No, sir. So far, no questions.
Now, testing the database to ensure it meets your client brief.
Yes,
Umar,
sir.
are you here? Can you please read it for us?
Database testing. Testing plans. Database testing includes performing data validity, data integrity, testing, performance check related to database and testing of procedures, triggers, and functions in the database. Consider an application that captures the day-to-day transaction details for users and stores the details in the database. From database testing point of view, the following check plan should be performed.
All right, give me a
Uh,
minute. Give me a minute. Umar, just give me a minute. For example, Umar, uh, help me. Okay. I have a credential like admin1234 and I have a password for manager level. Okay. At manager level, super admin means by Mahrud B's owner give me a password and a username for getting logged into the DB as a manager to fetch the details about invoices, fetch the details about stocks, how much stocks being left and how much is get sold in this month. Okay, but eventually, the password was 123456789. This is the password string that super admin shared with me. But eventually, I put a wrong password like 0123456788. Then what will happen in this scenario?
so the data won't be safe.
Sorry.
I mean, the data will be not encrypted because of the easy password.
Okay. Anyone else?
Sir, can you elaborate the question?
Let's say super admin gives me a password and a username for manager. Username is manager123 and the password is 123456789. But eventually, by mistake, I put that password 0123456788. Okay. Now, what will happen in this scenario?
So I won't be able to log in.
Yeah, but there should be some trigger. Here we can check procedure triggers and functions in DB. So, what developers made in the DB that will trigger if anyone outside from the system, or you can say illegitimate user, try to get logged into your system. There should be a mechanism for such type of scenario, right?
Yes, sir.
So, in your opinion, what is the best solution for this?
It's from data validity or because it's related to security. So I'm not sure like what should I choose with the integrity or the validity.
Yeah, but system will trigger something, and that something, in your opinion, what will be that something that will get triggered when illegitimate or wrong password or user will try to log in to your system? What do you think? Discuss with me.
Sir, I can't think of it now.
I am just asking your reviews, not exactly the answer. What do you
So from my
think?
opinion, maybe the system will block the person or it will give some certain attempts to try two more times or three more times and then stop it.
Okay, attempts. So the basic, your opinion is attempts, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, attempts given options to sign through email, phone number. Okay, that's an alternative. All right, that's a better. Umar, you need to improve your suggestions. And by the way, this suggestion is very good for me as well. Okay, I can explain. For example, Firdos, you are the manager at some organization, okay? And that organization has a DB solely for business. And you are the manager at that business. And you have some link for your internal use. Guys, now listen this instruction very carefully. You have the link to get logged into the system as a manager, and that link is solely internal link. No one outside the organization know about that link. Okay, you have a username and a password, but eventually and mistakenly you entered the correct username, but the password is wrong. Then system will trigger something, or system will react something. What do you think? What is it about? All right, Umar, you were reading, right? Continue, please continue.
The transactional information from the application should be stored in the database and it should provide correct information to the user. Information should not be lost when it is loaded to database. Only completed transactions should be stored and all incomplete operations should be sorted by the application.
It's aborted, means destroy. Okay, incomplete operations and data storage will get be destroyed by the application, or you can say your software. All right, next.
Access authorization to database should be maintained. No unapproved or unauthorized access to user information should be provided.
All right. Users' data must be in the private. Only super admin can view all the records, or a business manager or a business intelligence manager will know about the sales and the users' data. Okay, so this is the access authorization that you need to implement in your system. All right, should I explain to you what system will get triggered?
Yes, sir.
All right. Umar shared with us the very updated information that it's the attempt. Okay. Wrong password or error and try again, I guess, sir. All right. Forget password option and use the code through email, I guess. All right. Nowadays, I am discussing with you guys the latest methodology. You can enter username and password randomly. Either you can enter the wrong username and password, okay? But nowadays, you can enter correct username, you can enter a random password, or you can say wrong password, but there should be 2FA, means two-factor authentication code, that needs to trigger before the submission of password and username. When the DB triggers the M pin or E pin, 4-digit pin, that pin will get validated on the runtime with username in the DB users table. Then you can log into your system with valid record. Okay, you present wrong password or error and try again. Okay, now just think about the Mahrud B database is solely for business, and you are acting as a internal manager for this organization. So if you are doing input wrong password, then you are not allowed for this, because you are the internal user of this organization. Okay, and forgot password is a better option, but with not email, you can use 4-digit PIN for such type of scenario, because email can easily hackable into the internet. Okay,
Yes, sir.
nowadays you cannot rely on email. You can only use your contact number, and on that contact number you can receive your 4-digit PIN just as a 2FA method, and with that 4-digit PIN your username will get authenticated and validated at runtime, then you will get logged into the system. Okay, so this is the best scenario that you can use for validating any user, and Marut B's manager is solely for internal. You are the internal employee of the organization, so you just need one more try. There is only two tries. If at first try you put wrong password, then you just need a final try. If you do not, then you must be an illegitimate user. Any doubt in this slide? Do you have any?
Clear.
Structural DB testing. It deals with the table and column testing. Either your data that you need to get stored is in the same table and same column and same place with the same ID or not. Schema testing, stored procedure and views testing, checking triggers. Either your triggers are getting triggered correctly or not. Views testing. In views testing, basically you are getting the view of table. Either all the records are synchronized or not, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or just in the random number. Functional testing. It involves checking functionality of DB from user point of view. Either the user are viewing the records when they view all the transactions of, you can say, transaction history or product history. Are they viewing the same content or not on the screen? Most common type of functional testing are white box and black box testing. In white box, basically you are viewing and testing both at the front end and at the back end. And in just like the black box, you cannot view from outside into the inside of the black box. So this is the main purpose, that you cannot view or test inside the code lines of your system. You just need to test outside from the system, means at the front end. The testing from the front end and the user by the end user is known as black box testing. White box testing can be done by developer and end user, but black box testing, it is better to do by the end user. Okay, because end user will give you a better idea what needs to be displayed in the correct way, in the correct format, in the better and easy to read, easy to navigate format. Okay, non-functional testing. It involves load testing, risk testing, connection testing, stress testing, minimum system requirements, like it will run on every server, it will run on the servers with specifications, it will run over the iPhone 10 or 11 or 12 Pro or up to so on. So these are the non-functional testing. Structural database testing involves verifying those components of DB which are not exposed to the end user. Basically, these are the structure on which the entire DB is made, like the schema, like your ERD, like your DFD, like your flow of data. It involves all the components from repository means store, which are used to store data and are not changed by the end user. Repository you can say as bucket in which you can store anything. If you are buying groceries, then your bucket will be your repository. If you are storing data, then your hard drive must be your repository. If you are storing data online, then your server or your storing of data, just like the Google Space, is your repository. GitHub providing you a repository. DB administrator with good command over SQL stored the procedures and other concepts normally perform this testing. They will store all the manuals over the DB repositories. So if anyone else outside, when you sell this system to some other client, they will do exactly what it is written in the manual to perform this type of testing. Do you have any question?
Yes, sir. If you have any doubts, I will let you know.
All right, Umar. Right. For example, tester tests the database means structural and functional both. They have done the both type of testing, structural, functional, and non-functional. Okay. Now they are going to ship this product to the client, and client needs to update and then test the version with that database. For example, PHP is announcing some update, then they are going to test either this update is relevant to our software system or not. Then how they are going to do it? They will do exactly what DB admin stored the manual in the repository. You can use that manual. You can download the manual from the DB repository, read it, and then you can perform according to the requirements. So in this way, you can perform this type of testing normally. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Take care. We will discuss further slides in the next class. Thank you very much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.